All right, I guess we can get into this thing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the penultimate regular season episode of Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball for this 2024-2025 campaign. I am Dan Besbris, and remember, we go all off season long. Myself, the great Adam King, and as of a few short, well, he and I have been discussing it, but I guess yesterday, Noah Rubin, also part of the madness here at Old Man Squad. Wanted to throw that up on the screen. Noah, who is, for one, just an awesome dude, but also he's with Roto World. You guys, everybody knows Roto World. That's one of the OG websites. He's going to be bringing a show, and I want to see if I can get this on the screen. There it is. It's called The Young Man Squad. The Young Man Squad Fantasy Basketball Podcast. There's the logo. You can see there's a baby with a rattle. The rattle has a basketball on the end of it. Noah is going to be doing Dynasty shows with video elements. So they will be here on a YouTube page at Old Man Squad. So make sure to subscribe to the page. We got all that stuff coming up here in the off season. Today, we are going to be doing what we did yesterday, which is taking a look at what actually happened. We're going to pretend basically like it's the middle of the regular season. I don't know what else to do at this point. Off season, we're going to be getting into all of our lessons learned. We're going to be doing a lot of sort of season and review stuff. We got weeks and weeks and weeks of that content coming up. That starts on Monday. But right now, some of you guys are in head-to-head leagues. That's beyond foolish. But most of you that are still listening to this podcast right now are in GamesCap Roto leagues that go to the very end of the regular season. And so you got to be on top of things. And the first thing I'll say before we even go through the card, and obviously you should be following me on Twitter at Dan Besbris, Old Man Squad on Blue Sky, blah, 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 blah. There are no games on Saturday. Why is that important? Well, you got to look at how far away you are from hitting your games cap. Because you might be like, oh, well, I got 4 slots left for shooting guard or whatever. There's 4 days left. Great. Nope. Or even if you're at 3, which I know is the case in a couple of my leagues, and I think I talked about this 2 days ago when we were looking at sort of like how to game out how many games you have left to use. If you have 3 remaining games to use at any of your slots, you need to utilize 1 today, 1 tomorrow, and 1 Sunday. That's all that's left. There are a few spots where my stupid team is not going to hit the games cap. It's like the cardinal sin in Roto, and I'm going to do it. I'm out here telling you guys what you should and should not do, and I'm going to screw it up. I had 9,000 injuries. And when you've got, one of these was in a Yahoo Public Prize League. I'm probably going to finish out of the money because I didn't use up my games cap, because I'm going to come up like 6 or 7 games short. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I had 3 guys on the IL in that league, and I had another 2 or 3 guys that were just out. So I legitimately only had 9 to 10 guys that were startable most nights, and that's not going to get you to your games cap. And I just kept falling farther and farther behind. And then when you're in a fab league, which that one is, you got to set 15 different, fab roster move trees overnight. And if some of them don't work out, you just won't get to use up that games cap. So last night I had 4 pickups in a couple of different leagues. I'm going to do it again tonight. Everybody plays tomorrow. Everybody plays on Sunday. So you just want to make sure you have the best guys in there, but also understanding that some of your guys are going to sit Friday and Sunday. So you got to have 12, 13 startable dudes if you want to get 10 out of them. Grumble. Boston sat everybody in Orlando. We thought this was going to be like the Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett show, but they scored 76 points. So it was kind of the nobody show. KCP left that Orlando game with knee soreness that might also have been, we're going to win this game in 20 minutes, so we don't really need you. But also, you don't take anything away from this one. You're not doing ads or drops. Philly's worth a note. Jeff Doughton Jr. had 30 points, 4 steals and a block. No, by the way, to answer your question of should I venture down that path, you should be venturing down the Lonnie Walker path if you need points and threes. He'll probably get you something else, although he didn't in this ballgame. Adem Bona should be started in all formats. Jared Butler is probably an all formats guy, while provided Justin Edwards remains out going forward. And then Quentin Grimes obviously has been a start basically since he was traded to Philadelphia. So you got a lot of really interesting guys on the tanking Sixers. That's a team to play down the stretch. It's finally Justin Champagnie time. I think we can safely say that they're going to let him play here down the stretch. It's been super annoying because the minutes have bounced all around. But now all of a sudden, 30 minutes or more in 3 consecutive ball games, 4 of his last 5, and he's been dominating in those. He's averaging 12 and a half rebounds over his last 3 games. He's at about 17 points. He's at 1.3 steals. He's at 2.5 3-pointers. I love me some Justin Champagnie fantasy game. And, the only sad part is that it took this long for them to actually play him the minutes. Stop yanking him around. Gosh darn it. See, he's probably worth a play Friday, Sunday. There aren't that many guys floating around out there, like on or off of rosters that are top 50. There are 50 of them. I made that joke on a podcast 2 years ago, and people loved it. I said, how many guys can you really find inside the top 50? Oh, 50. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-doop-boop. So he's playing massive minutes. That's awesome. Great news for Justin Champagnie. He's a playable guy in all formats. Keyshawn George, probably also playable in those last 2 games. But again, you're going to be kind of weighing it out against what guys you're going to be not playing in those games. You can also look at the schedule and see if anybody else, like most of the teams we're talking about here, are going to be teams that play Friday, Sunday only. There are 5 games tonight, so there'll be a couple of exceptions to that. I do not have the confidence to play Colby Jones. Bub Carrington is a points, boards, and assists play. He's not a top 100 type of dude, but again, almost everything you're doing right now is category hunting. The only reason I spent so much time on Justin Champagnie is that he's been good in points, boards, steals, free throw percent. Like there's been a lot of stuff that he's been good at. So it's kind of better than a categorical target. Oh, the Charlotte Hornets, man, they're bad. No Mark Williams for this one. No Miles Bridges. So Nick Smith Jr. had 28 points. Nurk had 26, and everybody else was terrible. KJ Simpson is an assists and steals play only. I'm assuming Mark Williams is going to be back for their last couple of ball games, so you can likely wipe Nurk off your board. What I don't know is whether or not we might get another high-usage Nick Smith game. Keep one eye on that. I doubt he's going to be good enough to drop into a games cap lineup in an overloaded Friday, Sunday, but we'll, one eye on it, basically. Toronto's been just a wreck for the better part of a month now as they float guys in and out of their lineup. Scotty Barnes got to play in this one. Emmanuel quickly got to sort of play in this one. Note on both of those guys. Jonathan Mobo triple-doubled. He's probably playable. Again, you're weighing these guys against like your 8th, 9th best dudes. I think Mobo should probably be on rosters given his fantasy game is pretty versatile. I don't know that I would call any of these other guys must-roster dudes. Orlando Robinson, who had an efficiency tanker of a game, is probably the next most interesting. I know Jared Rhoden had 23. AJ Lawson had 14, 6, and 7. They also played another team that's all G Leaguers right now. Lakers, Luka Doncic rolled into Dallas, and with the fans cheering his name, dropped 45 on his old team. Whew, that's cold-blooded. 45, 8 and 6, 4 steals, 7 threes. This was Luka doing Luka. And then with the games kind of close in the 4th quarter, LeBron was like, all right, I got a little something in the tank. And that's, I guess, maybe the other thing here is that LeBron having someone that he can literally just give the ball to for the first time since Kyrie. Because, you could go through AD in their time together, but LeBron had to be doing something on all of those sets. LeBron didn't have to do much on a lot of the Luka Doncic-led parts of the offense. He's going to cut. He's going to move. But he gets to chill for 2.5, 3 quarters if he wants to. And so he had a ton in the tank late, and that's when the Lakers really pushed this thing open. Rui is back. Lakers have 2 games left. And you can probably start those 4 guys, Reeves being obviously the other one. I know Rui didn't rebound very much, and that's kind of the downside there, but that efficiency. You know what? How about this? Let's just call Rui a scoring threes and efficiency specialist for their last 2 games. Lakers threw everything at Anthony Davis yesterday. If you're wondering why he only had 13 and 11, but he did have 6 assists because, again, they threw everything at him. Najee Marshall was the Mav who kind of got loose, and that's going to happen when a team focuses so much attention on the main guy. If you're looking around at what you should be doing with the Mavs, I did say a bunch of times last week that I thought Najee Marshall was a hold just because he's still playing 30-some-odd minutes. Spencer Dinwiddie, this the beginning of the end? He didn't start. Mavs went Derek Lively at center, Daniel Gafford coming off the bench at center, although Gafford still had the better fantasy line. AD, power forward. That's a little screwy. What do I do there? I think I'd probably start Gafford against the games cap. Same with PJ Washington. Marshall, more of a scoring and assists stream. Dinwiddie, probably more of an assists stream at this point. Klay Thompson, only a 3-pointer stream. And then AD, you're obviously playing. Miami lost at Chicago. Not a great loss here for Miami, but everything from a fantasy standpoint is pretty predictable. Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Bam Adebayo, Davion Mitchell, and Andrew Wiggins are all startable in all formats. Just figure out what categories you want more if you need to debate between them. But all 5 of those guys belong on rosters right now. Josh Giddey had the line of the night, 28, 16, and 11. He's been a juggernaut the last month and a half or so. Kevin Huerter, after that day off, I think he had like a sore butt. So I don't remember what the note was. You can start the starters for Chicago right now. Bazelis is doing enough. It's barely, but he's doing enough where you can start all of these guys. And I think I was relatively ahead of the curve on Kevin Huerter in Chicago. And again, on these non-rest days, he's been great. Chicago's another team that only has 2 games left, like most of the teams we're talking about. I mean, actually, all of them that played in this one. Yeah, everybody that played on Wednesday now has only 2 games left. Because there wasn't a single Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back, right? Right. Correct. Good for us. Oh, you know what I almost forgot to tell you guys about? We just got rolling on all these box scores, but we'll get it in there now. That's our buddies over at MyBookie. This is, so a little bit of a backstory here. MyBookie, our new sports betting partner here on Old Man Squad, and just for the whole Old Man Squad and the Believe Network. I worked with MyBookie from like 2017 to 2022, I think, back at the old spot. And I always had a really good experience with them. If you guys use crypto, it's actually a really easy way to make deposits and withdrawals super duper 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 fast. That's a cool thing, but it works with credit cards as well. They always made things really easy, and they had all these incredible odds boosts throughout the year. You guys remember that? Those that followed me like in 2018, anytime MyBookie had an odds boost, I put that on Twitter. Immediately, I was like, guys, we got to get down on this one. And obviously, you can't break the bank on those. It's like 10, 20, like $25 on those types of wagers. But they give you these ones that have like a 75, 80, 90% hit rate. They're basically just throwing 10 to 20 bucks at you in the hopes that you'll use it on other stuff. And I will. But like, all you got to do in that point is break even on the non-odds boost stuff, and you'll slowly grow your bankroll. If you actually are good at this, which some of you might be, and I was back in my heyday, you can really like power boost your way up the board, and you don't have to wager all that much. So we had a great experience with MyBookie for so many years, and now it's pretty cool. It's sort of serendipitous, I guess, that we're back with them through the Believe Network. Anyway, we've got a promo code for you at MyBookie. It's MM50. If you use that when you sign up, you can get a deposit match bonus of 50% up to $2,000. So $50, $2,000, whatever. Half of that matched instantly with that code MM50. No waiting, and you don't need to place a bet to see the deposit bonus come in. When you make your deposit, the bonus goes with it. bonus cash right away. And what's coming up right now, what you can get down on, the Masters and UFC 314. They've got outrights, they've got matchups, they've got live betting on the Masters, they've got long shot bombs with the MyBookie money bag. If there's an edge, you'll find it at MyBookie. Plus, there's a Michael Chandler odds boost for UFC 315. I don't even know who Michael Chandler is, but that's the beauty of an odds boost. You don't need to. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. I know I did a little bit extra there, but like it's kind of cool that we're back around with them again. Portland lost at Utah, a tank off. Not that Portland waited too long, so that's not really fair. The Blazers have been mathematically eliminated, I think, as of this ball game, actually. Phoenix as well. Not that they were going to come back, but like we talked about how many teams were going to back into that 9-10 seed in the Western Conference. Do not be surprised if the 9 and the 10 seeds don't make the actual playoffs. The Kings at least have a fighting shot. Oh, Mavericks. Man, those two teams are bad this year. I'm so glad I faded the Kings this season. I didn't, man, I'm sad I didn't get to do, I'm sorry for the pregnant pause on the podcast right there. I'm just sad that I never got to do the betting preview shows. We were starting a new network. You got to go so hard on the crowd pleasers in August. This time around, we're going to try to get it done. Even if I have to do like 3 extra recordings on a weekend, we're going to get those season win total shows done. Getting derailed here. Matisse Thybulle, 38 minutes, only 2 defensive stats, but he's worth playing if he's starting in their last couple of ball games. So keep an eye on that. Banton, only 11 points. He's a terrible efficiency guy, but if you need scoring, he's going to give it to you. As long as, we've said this 3 times on the show already, as long as Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson remain out. Shaden Sharp is obviously playable because he's getting all the usage on Earth. Donovan Clingan is playable. Tamani Kamara is playable. So there are options in Portland. I don't even know who Ryan Rupert is. Sounds made up, but he had 19. Okay. Utah, Kyle Filipowski at center. The Kyle Filipowski experience is generally a fun one. He played a couple of teams where he got his butt kicked, but he had 30 and 18 here. He's obviously a play the rest of the way, and I think he does belong even on, traditional. Like you can use him in any format is basically what I'm thinking. But obviously, if you're hard charging rebounds, threes, and points on good percentages, Filipowski is an even better play for you. I don't think I have the stones to play Bryce Sensabaugh. He's generally just a points play, although he did get some other stuff in this ball game. Colin Sexton has been down throttled, so probably move on from him. Keontae George is playable. He's going to have a lot of usage these last 2 ball games. So Keontae, Filipowski are probably the 2 guys that I would trust on Utah. And then you've got those other guys that are more specialist level appeal. Denver, a much-needed win for the Nuggets, who blew up everything in between this ball game and the previous one. Jamal Murray still out. The last report we got on him was that they're hoping to have him when the playoffs start, but they don't even know if that's going to be the case. Jalen Pickett got 31 minutes with Russell Westbrook getting pulled back to just 17. You're in bad Russ mode right now, and it is really ugly when it's bad Russ. He's a drop. Christian Brown has quietly, by the way, been maybe the pickup of the year, which I know that you guys were like, no, that's Dyson Daniels. But Dyson Daniels was not a pickup. Dyson Daniels was a draft pick. He was on all of our boards as like one of the first wave of flyer guys. He should not have made it out of the draft room in any of yours. But Christian Brown, he wasn't drafted. I think he was drafted in like one of my 10 leagues. And then in a crazy twist, I was one of the teams that was more bullish on him. I didn't expect to be. I thought that I was going to be late on Brown, but I ended up with him in a couple of spots as a pickup. And he's been awesome. He's number 27 by totals, 55 by averages. He did it all year. You guys remember at the beginning of the season, first like 4 or 5 games, I had a Christian Brown bit going on the podcast where I was like, Brown did it again. And then before the game, I'd ask, can Brown do it again? Guess what, guys? He did it the whole damn year. And he was super healthy, too. 77 games right now for Christian. So if he checks in their last 2, he'll miss only 3 games all year. What a beast. MPJ was better. Aaron Gordon was okay, although he's forgotten how to get defensive stats. And you guys know I'm not a big Aaron Gordon fantasy dude. King's side is notable because Keegan Murray was back out. So Trey Lyles, nice little points, boards, efficiency guy. Keon Ellis, as long as Malik Monk is out, is a must-play dude. Yes, he's a steals mega stream, but he had 6 threes, 2 blocks, 6 rebounds, 20 points. You can't expect that every game, but like if he's in there for mid-30s in minutes and there are some usage guys that are not in there for the Kings, Keon's got to be a start. He's been very good here down the stretch. OKC rested about 4 rotation guys, but not all of them. And so Alex Caruso got 27 minutes. Shrug emoji. I don't never really know when that's going to happen, but he's great when he gets it. Jalen Williams took over the lead role with no Shea out there. He was awesome. Chet Holmgren played with Hartenstein getting the game off, and it seems like maybe they're going to just alternate who's in and who's out, and that's going to make OKC super difficult to figure out for Friday, Sunday. Probably best not to take that plunge, although if you can figure it out, and if we get word, say, a day in advance, Shea's out and Hartenstein's out or whatever, like if we can find out if Alex Caruso is going to get this bonus run or Aaron Wiggins, then those guys would be really nice plays. You got to know a day in advance. Phoenix is terrible. How do you lose to the zombie Thunder? I get it. They've given up on the year. Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, don't be surprised if they sit out the last 2. So be ready to move on. I'm going to say the young guys in Phoenix, but I don't even really know who they'd play. Would Tyus Jones get to play 35 minutes in one of those games? Because if so, he could be a top 30 dude. Or are they just going to be like, all right, Colin Gillespie and Ryan Dunn, go crazy. I don't care if you guys screw up everything. Again, we got to know before we can move on it. Harrison Barnes, game winner. This is a really big outcome in the Western Conference playoff picture. It dropped the Warriors back a half game behind the Grizzlies and a game behind the Clippers. And so now teams like the Nuggets and the Lakers, they're watching all that stuff. The Warriors are currently the 7 seed, but they only have 2 games left, and the Wolves and the Grizzlies still have 3. And Memphis, if I'm remembering right, I think Memphis' schedule sucks here coming up. Grizzlies they've got Minnesota at home and then Denver on the road tomorrow. Ugh. Who do the Warriors have left? Portland on the road tomorrow. Very winnable game. Clippers at home on Sunday. Those teams are probably going to be fighting in that game. Clippers don't want to fall back either. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's really afraid of anybody in the Western Conference right now. In any event, we've talked about the Spurs a lot. Nothing changes here. Chris Paul is generally startable. Has he played in every single game this year? Is that right? Yeah, Chris Paul has not missed a single game. Top 80 and perfect durability. How about that? In your eye, old man haters. He's been great. Julian Champagnie is streamable for 3s mostly, and you hope for a few defensive stats. Anything else, you're kind of, crossing your fingers. Keldon Johnson is a points and boards play. Harrison Barnes is a points and 3s play sometimes. Devin Vassell is a guy I would start. Stephon Castle is a points league beast and a 9-cat train wreck. He's, I'd say points and assists, and then you have to just sort of not care about your percentages. Over on the Warriors side, I don't know what the hell happened in this game. They just got nothing out of anybody besides the 2 main guys. Steph had 30, Jimmy Butler had 28. You finally had a Brandon Pajemski back to earth kind of ball game, and then the Warriors, that wasn't enough. I mean, that's why they've been so good lately, is they've gotten a lot out of Pajemski and Kuminga and Moody, and like those guys just weren't there in this one. I guess Kuminga was okay. Pajemski, you keep starting. He's good enough to start even against the game's cap. Obviously, Jimmy, Steph, and Draymond, those guys are no-brainers. Houston rested everybody in this game against the Clippers. I don't really understand how teams decide which one they want to get their rest days on. Houston had the Clippers on the road. They've got the Lakers on the road tomorrow, and I'm sure they're going to play everybody in that ball game. And then Denver at home to finish out the season, and they'll probably rest everybody for that one because that's how teams operate. You play your guys against the Lakers, you rest them against everybody else. If we know that the Rockets are going to rest everybody, and you look towards that last ball game, Reed Shepherd was awesome. He looks NBA ready. They're just so deep they never get to use him. I don't know if I would take the Jock Landale plunge on a full card on that Sunday. But again, you're just looking to make sure that you get all 10 of your starting slots full on that last day. And if that means dropping 4 or 5 guys who you think are going to rest, you might have to do it. And then the Clippers, this was I think everybody besides Norm, if I'm remembering right for this game. This is everybody other than Norm. Harden has really finished the year well. Credit to James, who's also, by the way, been pretty damn durable himself. James Harden's pushed up to number 17 in 9-cat. He finally got his field goal percent over 40. He's at 40.6. Yay! But again, 77 out of their 80 games so far. So that's been great. By totals, Harden's been a fantastic pick this year. I think is he top 6 by totals? Am I remembering that right? Yeah. James Harden's number 6 by totals this season. You know who's number 5? Dyson frickin' Daniels. It goes Shea, Jokic, Halliburton. Hello, everybody. Number 3 by totals on the year. Tyrese Halliburton. There were some of you out there that said he was bad, and that turns out to be maybe the greatest buy low of all time. Number 3 by totals this year. Kawhi's been awesome down the stretch. That's an easy one. Zubats has been great. He triple-doubled in this game. How about that? With no Norm, Bogdanovic had a nice ball game. And you can do that whenever one of the usage guys is out. Bogdan has really kind of settled in for a streaking Clippers team. I'm really curious to see what these teams that are streaking down the stretch do when the playoffs hit. You see this all the time. At the end of the year, some teams get hot and they kind of figure things out going into the playoffs, but also there are these games where they're not challenged along the way, and it sort of backfires. And like the Clippers haven't really been challenged. And yeah, I don't want to take anything away from it. They've won 6 games in a row, 8 out of their last 10. They're blasting their way up the board, but they also have a really easy schedule lately. This was supposed to be the hard game on their schedule, and Houston rested everyone. Their last tough games were Cleveland, Orlando, that back-to-back on the 30th and 31st of March. But then they got the tanking Pels. They got the half-cocked Mavericks twice, the Spurs, the resting Rockets. You know, the 6-game win streak, one of those wins, I would argue, was over a team that was actually like legitimately decent and trying to win, and that was in Orlando. Clippers are playing well. Make no mistake. They're playing good basketball, but we got to make sure we're aware of schedule. Whatever, like fantasy-wise, great. I have all these teams with James Harden that have been just awful beyond awful in field goal percent all year, and now it's a little bit too little too late, but whatever. Great season for James. At least we got that call right on draft night. Annoying way to get there, I think, but he's there. He did it. All right, I guess that's it. Somehow we turned that into a 30-minute show. Probably didn't need to be. Tomorrow, we will recap the Thursday games and wrap up the season. A little weekend preview. But don't worry. Again, a reminder, we have shows all off-season long from 3 different fantasy analysts. It'll be myself doing my usual flow through the offseason, lessons learned for a while. Then you get into team recaps. Then we'll have some draft experts on. That'll bring us through that. We'll talk playoffs intermittently in there just because it's fun to do so. Free agency, and so on and so forth. It just goes like that. Adam King, he's going to be on. He is the master of the way too early mock draft. We got one. Adam's actually got one starting in 3 days. 3 days from now that I'll be a part of. So we can break that down. He'll break it down on his show that's coming to this channel. This YouTube channel, I should say. You got to subscribe to Adam's show on Traditional Pods. And then Noah Rubin, whose first episode drops in a little under 2 weeks. That is the Young Man Squad Fantasy Basketball podcast. That's going to be on Dynasty, rookies, young players, all that cool stuff. That's all going to be on our YouTube page all off season long. We will not leave you high and dry in the fantasy basketball community. We love you, and we love fantasy basketball, and so we're never going to stop talking about it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching all year long. I'll do an emotional touchy feely thing on tomorrow's show. For now, au revoir.